The Dolphins' 2019 season is thankfully almost over. They play their final game at New England this Sunday, but they can only either finish 4-12 or 5-11, so the season's definitely over. However, though, this season did go as planned, seeing as they wanted to do a total rebuild and they tore down their entire roster. In doing so, they created much more cap space and loaded up on draft picks. This was much more of just an evaluating year, just to kind of see which players they want to keep and which ones they want to trade away for next season. So, as we get closer to 2020, I thought it'd be time to go over some goals they should have at the start of the actual year. And I mean this including offseason and the draft and the season, of course. So, let's see what they should go over, and I have 5 of them I think they need to do. Number 1 is to get an O-line. To me, this is clearly their biggest weakness. Obviously, they have a lot, but their O-line was just not good in 2019, and that is such an important area. In my last video, I went over on why this is such an important thing for us to upgrade. Sorry, but getting a quarterback is not just going to magically turn this Dolphins team into a contender. We have to help them out, and in doing so, we need to get an O-line. We really need to heavily invest in some during the trade season or off-season draft, preferably both. We just really need to upgrade at O-line. Number 2 is to upgrade at D-line. This is the other position for us that I think we need to improve. While the interior defensive line is actually pretty good, pass rush is a much more important position, and this is something we are not good at. I mean, have you noticed how much better defenses get when they have an elite pass rusher? I mean, Von Miller single-handedly won Super Bowl 50. J.J. Watt has been a beast for the Texans for plenty of years. Nick Bosa has turned around the Niners defense into a pretty elite unit actually. And there's so many more examples, and just let's be honest, our defense doesn't actually have a lot of names, but pass rusher is just such an important defensive position. Actually, it is the most important defensive position. So somehow we need to upgrade at this, and even if it doesn't fully turn the defensive around, it will make it a lot better. Number 3 is to keep the talented players we have. So we traded away pretty much everybody. I don't know if they can really even afford to trade anyone else away. They've got enough picks and cap space. Now we need to use that to keep the players that we have. 2 players that come to mind are Nick Needham and Albert Wilson. Needham, I think, needs to come back. I know he's an undrafted rookie anyway, but if we have him and Xavier Howard coming back, that would make the cornerback position pretty solid. And I really think Albert Wilson needs to come back. He's been emerging as of late. I might do a video on this a little bit later. But I just think it's we don't need to do another roster teardown. I think now it's time to actually build it up. Number 4, I think we should have no less than 6 wins this year. Remember that this is still a rebuilding team, so we can't really expect to win a Super Bowl or anything, but we do still need to see some progress. I think we need to aim for the playoffs, but if it shows that we're clearly not ready, I say don't be anything less than 6-10. Because that would be some progress to me, is to go mediocre and it actually means something this time instead of just something we always do every year. And then number 5 is find a formula. This is a lot more important than you think, because there are plenty of good teams that don't win simply because they just don't know who they are or how they're going to win. The Dallas Cowboys this year are a really big example. They have one of the best rosters in the entire league, but they just have no idea who they are or how they're going to win games, and they're likely going to miss the playoffs. The Baltimore Ravens are another good example. Last year, they realized that Lamar Jackson's biggest strength was running the ball. So during the offseason, they made a bunch of moves to make this work, and they also did so to get the talented running back Mark Ingram, and they also just play really good defense. They knew who they were, and they found a way to make it work, and now look at them. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC and may actually go to a Super Bowl and might actually win it. We need to figure out who we are so that we're not, let's just be honest, we're probably not going to win a Super Bowl next season, but we need to figure out how we're going to win games so that during the 2021 offseason, we can actually build to win that Super Bowl since we know how we're going to do it. That's my personal goals. Let me know what you guys would want to see the Dolphins do, and be realistic about it. Other than that, let's try to enjoy this final game of 2019, but get ready for a much better 2020 year, or hopefully it's going to be at least. Fins up.